This is art drama from somebody that traced off of another artist because we've seen this happen time and time again. This is tweeted out by Riku, who goes by Riku. I keep getting DMs about an artist that heavily influences their style and model off my own. And all I want to say is I spoke to them in private months ago. They don't seem they want to cooperate and deny copying or heavily referencing poses, faces, and models. I can only do so much. If they read this, I want to ask them kindly to please be mindful and move on with their own style. I'm flattered they like my art to the point of wanting to replicate it as much, but there's always a limit. To them and all artists looking to build their own style, my personal suggestion is having 3 to 4 main art influences that you learn from so that you can develop your unique style without risking it'll look like it's copying one specifically. Their final statement is something that I always try to tell you guys. Even though I like covering tea drama, I feel like a lot of people who listen to me also listen to me because you want to get like little art tips. I'm by no means an amazing artist either, but I've been drawing for a while, so I have some tips to provide y'all, okay? Here's the thing. Tracing, not cool. Referencing, totally chill. But when you reference as an artist, you should reference off of multiple references, okay? And you should have a mixed medium of references. What do I mean by this, okay? You should reference artists. You should reference art pieces. You should also reference photos. You should also reference live model body poses or 3D model poses, okay? If you reference only one thing, like if you only reference art pieces and you don't have any IRL references, you can have errors in your artwork. Let's say you're trying to draw a person and you only reference the way artists draw people. You may end up with anatomical issues because some artists will push proportions for stylistic choices. Some artists draw people with really long necks. Some artists draw people with very large hands. It's a stylistic choice that makes sense for their art style. But then if you start Frankensteining elements out of different people's art into your own art without ever double checking with a real life reference, you may start treading the realms of reality with your artwork. And it might start looking a little uncanny valley if you only reference art. Same thing if you only reference IRL photos, that's totally fine too, actually. That's chill. But you know, you can also get more of a stylistic aspect if you look at how some artists draw people. See how they push the boundaries and push the limits of their style, and then you can maybe see elements you like and incorporate it into your own art. If you only reference off of one artist, that gets a little, that area gets very, very gray now. If you only reference one artist, you're gonna start looking like a copycat of them. Are you intentionally copying that artist? Maybe not, but that is what's gonna happen. Your art is going to start looking a lot like that artist's art, and people are going to start thinking that you are copying that artist. And in best case scenario, it would look like you're a fan. Worst case scenario, people will start accusing you of tracing, especially if you actually already trace off their art. That's a whole separate thing. But this is why, to avoid this whole conundrum issue, please just use multiple references and we will be fine. So anyways, back to the post. Liro says, they showed up on my timeline last night and I was so confused how they could get away with heavily referencing just like that. I'd say heavily referenced, but I did some digging and most of their stuff is traced. Sorry you have to deal with that. You have every right to be upset. Riku said, I'm also saying copying, but a bunch of stuff was traced and there were intentions of selling the trace work. I really wouldn't go as far as tweeting if it wasn't as problematic. Mantreat VA says, I've seen many artists use your style. It's not isolated. Riku, facepalm emoji. This was not the point. Mantreat VA says, I can't believe this is what gets a reply from Dai. Seiga says, you're proud of provoking an artist you follow. I hope you get blocked now. Isa said, I also discovered 1 to 2 days ago that ever since they followed me, they changed their outfit to what I was making for my model last year. Not the same at all, just blatantly obvious they're copying others. More Blank says, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. So, here's Riku's follow-up tweet. Riku says, since this person's response was to tweet a time-lapse of them drawing art from scratch, trying to prove their art is genuine, I have decided to speak up. Callouts are my last option. I do my absolute best to resolve over DMs. I will not tolerate nonsensical hate or threats over them. This post is in hopes they do better. At Yuki Arts has been copying and occasionally tracing what I make live on stream. I spoke to them back in March, but denied ever since, covering it up as inspiration, and even though I blocked them on both Twitter and Twitch somewhat, they managed to draw a piece dangerously close to whatever I made that day. Here's an example of overlapping the fan art I drew on stream on June 22nd, and shortly after, she posted work in progresses of it. Next, proof of me sketching on stream, and a few days later, their piece is posted in the same angle, pose, mannerism. The background of that piece is the same composition I used for the final artwork. Yellow flat plus lines plus silly pink doodles. You can absolutely argue it's not one-to-one traced because they are able to draw. Still, my point stands, it's copied. So here's an example of the tracing. Oh boy. Wow. This is definitely like one-to-one for the body and pose and everything. They just move some elements slightly. It's still traced though. Here's the second one. This is Riku on stream drawing or sketching this character. Here you can see the piece on the left is Yuki's traced artwork. The piece on the right is the pose sketch that Riku made on stream. See the side by side of the pose, The only thing they changed is they straightened out this leg instead of bending it straight under the body. Here we have this character. This is the piece that Riku made. So you see the hands here, see the outfit, see the hair, the rendering, so cute. See the background with the yellow, with the white line going through it, and then pink doodles. See how this piece, they have yellow, blue lines, pink doodles. Going back to this piece. So this piece, the sketch is from Riku. So this piece, the sketch is Riku's. The colored version is Yuki's. Riku's, Yuki's, Riku's, Yuki's. Even the ears and the hair is the same. Riku says, biggest concern was this one, which was gonna be an adoptable. This base model is heavily copying my Shy Lily model, and the outfit plus hair tufts are taken from the new outfit I'm making her during my streams. This outfit hasn't even debuted and it's been stolen. It's beyond me. They denied it ever looking the same in DMs. Their own model, you can understand my concern thinking it looks like it's referencing my own. Core elements in the latex suit, mid-partition ears are, to me, clear signs of it. I wasn't too worried about this one as I thought it was different though. Okay, when I was on stream, I couldn't find this, but I was able to now find the new Shy Lily outfit that Riku was talking about. I'll censor like chunks of it so that I don't try to like spoil it before the outfit reveal. But here you can really see a lot of the elements are quite similar. The little hair tufts, the jacket with the fuzzy collar, with the little like buckles on the sides of the jacket. Look, man, nobody owns like small little pigtails. Nobody owns buckles on a jacket or a fur collar. Those are common. But if you just see later the history of this person and copying stuff from Riku, it then gets a little odd. But the other statement here, their own model, you can understand my concern thinking it looks like it's referencing my own. Let me say, Yuki's model looks like a ripoff of Riku's model. Look, normally I'm not a fan of comparing two people to VTubers, but bro, if you are like referencing, borrowing inspiration, or straight up tracing this heavily, you're now looking a little sus to me. Let's compare the two. Look, normally I wouldn't say anything. But knowing the fact that Yuki has a weird obsession with Riku and they keep tracing and copying Riku, then this claim makes sense. Look at the hair partition. Both of them have a very, very solid but low V of hair on their head. This is something that Riku has. Riku also has two very, very low ears, like low hanging ears. Oh wow, Yuki's model also has the same thing. And then Yuki's model has two long pieces of bangs going down the side. And I guess to not look like they're copying, they did one. Let's look at the outfit. Riku's outfit has like a turtleneck type thing that crops off above the chest. Look at their model. It's a turtleneck that crops off above the boobs. They made theirs long sleeve instead of short sleeves. Riku's model wears like a skin tight latex suit in the torso. Guess who's wearing a skin tight latex suit? This is not as blatant as the Shy Lily Small Lola drama. Come on top of tracing Riku's art, their model is with a lot of similar elements to Riku's model. Again, normally I don't want to compare two VTubers like that, but dude, this is just so blatant. But also what's interesting here is you can kind of see where they take inspiration from. They have like bangs here. They have straight up bangs with one white side piece and the swoosh here. This was in 2023. And then 2024, they got this like the V middle part with the long side bang with the Yay Miko ears that Riku also has on their model. And again, everything is in context. It's only in context with the fact that they keep obsessively tracing over Riku's art that makes it weird. Maybe if they just really like Riku's model, that's one thing, but Riku then says, I'm getting a DM about them every couple of weeks max. I haven't been replying because I was trying to forget about it, hoping they just move on with the copying. Rather, they post time lapses in the attempt of proving they can do it themselves. The sad thing is, yes, I can see they're capable of drawing. I just wish they did without benefiting off of my own work. Sadly, their response is not owning up to the blatant tracing proofs. Once again, it's being masked as inspiration, study, and referencing. I really wish they were honest about it and admit it, but at least the message seems to have gone through and hopefully they can take action. I want to thank you all for replying and being very respectful and in a civil manner, even though the topic can be enraging and frustrating. So let's see the speed paintings. This is to prove they drew it themselves. Here's them rendering it on stream to show that they are drawing it themselves. I already watched this. I believe in the rest of the process, they did render this themselves because they can draw. So wait, do they start with the sketch here? Oh, that's the sketch. But it's very clearly traced. They traced over the initial sketch that Riku made for the pose. And then they kind of filled in the blanks with their own stuff. Here is a second piece of theirs that they posted a speed painting for. I don't think this was one of the ones they traced, but I don't know anymore at this point. Here's the thing again, you can always hide layers. It's possible. So there could have been tracing. To me, it's only believable if you draw it on stream. And by draw, I mean you draw the whole thing on stream. For the one that was traced, they have a speed painting in an art program of them doing the sketch, and then they rendered the sketch on stream. So we know the rendering was legit. The other part of the process could have been traced, you know? So Yuki says, address the recent post. I would like to say that my first time-lapse video was not a response to anything going on, but was taken as one. I didn't see anything until later on when a friend of mine sent me a screenshot, and I understand and see the issues going on. Dia, along with many other artists, used to be one of my biggest inspirations for even starting art up again after taking a big break from it. I used to study her art and learn how she did certain things to improve my own art and art style. I understand the problem this brings. I have used her art as references before in the past and see how it's become a problem since our first talk. It was never my intention to copy or imitate her artwork, simply trying to better my art. I use many references when it comes to poses from Pinterest and other art sites. I use Clip Studio Paint for my digital art and recording time-lapse videos of all my art pieces I do and have done. It would show if I trace anything, like with my most recent time-lapse where I used the 3D Clip Studio Paint model hands to help with drawing hands and the perspective of them. I see and understand the problem with this whole thing. I see and understand how it can be taken badly. I see how it's an issue. For right now, it is just my art style at this point, and I'll be making changes as I go on. Since I'm still learning and changing my style up every day, little by little, since I don't want to overwhelm myself completely, but I will be making changes to my art. I will also be posting time-lapse videos straight from Clip Studio Paint along with my art for now. And then we have other people like Shadow Lily stating, tracing over her art is not inspiration or referencing. It's tracing, and you're trying to sell these trace pieces for money. If you took references from Pinterest, how come your pieces look just like Riku's? Do better. Knock Knock says reference and copying are different things. You learn how to color and render and anatomy. Great. Now learn to not take other people's concepts and ideas and make your own. Jaw says all this yap to say it's just my art style that you copied to the point you have them blocked everywhere and kept doing it, and not just style, everything. Never my intention. How when you would block Evade just to copy more? That one honestly seals the deal for me. They got blocked and they just kept going at it, I guess. Here's the thing at the end of the day. Riku has DM'd Yuki in private stating, hey, I see you tracing my art. You are making me uncomfortable. And Yuki never once stopped. I think that's the biggest issue here. Normally, I would try to give benefit of doubt and be like, maybe Yuki was just innocently drawing and just heavily referenced this artist, didn't know that it was wrong, but they have been told it was wrong. They were told months ago from Riku that it was wrong. They were blocked by Riku because Riku was so uncomfortable. But they, I guess, made alt accounts to circumvent the block and then to continue to trace. And it's the worst part too, because it's always so sad when an artist clearly has art talent, when they're clearly able to draw, but they still choose to take unethical shortcuts for some reason. Why? You clearly know how to draw, so why are you doing this? Why are you tracing off of Riku? And the slight uncomfortable similarities their model has to Riku. Normally, the model similarities they have, I wouldn't blink an eye. But that on top of the fact they're tracing Riku's art really gives me a feeling that they have a slight unhealthy obsession with Riku as an artist, and they kind of want to be them. Just be yourself, bro, and do better. I hope they can be better. And I'm sorry this happened to Riku because they're really talented, their art is amazing, and it sucks that there's people out here trying to trace and copy off of them.